Losing fat is impossible. At least that's what it can feel like when you keep making the same mistakes over and over again. For years I made my own mistakes and it caused me to balloon up to 248 pounds and then make zero progress. But then I finally figured out where I was going wrong and the mistakes that I was making, and I managed to lose 70 pounds of body fat. And in this video I'm going to share with you the 5 worst fat loss mistakes that are keeping you fat so that you can correct them and finally see the results that you want. So the first mistake, and one that I see all too often with people when they first start trying to lose fat, is massive calorie deficits. I get why it can seem like a good idea when you desperately want to lose fat. It can seem like the most fast and efficient way to do it, but trust me, it's a trap. When you start a deficit of 1,000 calories or more, you will definitely see some fast results. You'll likely lose 2 pounds or more per week, and that will make it feel like you're speed running fat loss, but it comes with some major caveats. Firstly, you won't just be losing fat, it will be a mixture of fat, water, glycogen, electrolytes, and most people will even lose muscle at really high calorie deficits, and that's the absolute last thing you want. Not only that, but it will also massively slow your metabolism down. Your body is going to see the drastic change in caloric intake and it's going to react, causing it to be harder and harder to lose fat over time, and you'll likely have to reverse diet back up to get your metabolism back to a normal level. Also, your hunger hormones will go through the roof, your energy levels will completely crash, and you will feel like absolute shit. Trust me, I've experienced this firsthand. Back when I was this guy, I thought it was a really good idea to do a drastic calorie deficit. And yes, for a couple of weeks I lost a really good amount of weight. I lost 5 pounds, but I felt tired all the time. I had no energy and I was hungry constantly. All I could think about was food, and eventually that led me to binge eat. And guess what? I put every single pound that I'd lost back on within a week. What did work for me and what will work for you is a 500 calorie daily deficit. It's a moderate calorie deficit and it's going to allow you to lose 1 pound of body fat per week, making it sustainable. Trust me, as much as it could be tempting to just completely slash your calories, the best approach is a slow and steady one with a moderate calorie deficit. That way you're going to lose fat, you're going to retain or even build muscle, and you're going to stay lean for life. The second mistake, and again one that I see all too often, is too much intense cardio. I speak to a lot of people about fat loss and about trying to lose weight, and some people tell me they go from doing absolutely no cardio to doing like 4 or 5 hours of HIIT training per week, and then they wonder why they burn out. Cardio absolutely has its place in fat loss, but if you think running yourself into the ground with intense cardio is the secret to burning fat, you're wrong. And you'll be somewhat surprised to hear that high intensity cardio can actually work against you. It can spike your cortisol levels, which is going to signal to your body that it needs to hold on to fat. Adding to that, intense cardio also makes you ridiculously hungry. And the issue of that is people often think they've burnt more calories than they actually have, so they go home and have some giant post-cardio meal and end up overeating. Not to mention the fact it ruins your recovery, so you're not going to be able to weight train properly, which will mean you're going to lose muscle. Why do you think cardio-heavy athletes are so skinny? So what should you actually be doing instead? You should be doing 5 30-minute steady-state cardio sessions per week, where your heart rate is between 120 and 140 beats per minute for most people. That way you will burn calories, improve your cardiovascular health, and it won't mess up your weight training. Also remember, your fat loss mostly comes from your diet. Cardio is just the tool that adds to it. It's not the main driver. If you hammer yourself with intense cardio every single day, of course you're going to lose fat, but you're going to end up skinny and weak. The third mistake is one that I fell for so many times myself, and it's the whole eating healthy thing. Now look, before I go deeper into this, obviously I'm not saying you should not eat healthy, but if your main goal is fat loss, the more important factor is calories in, calories out. Foods like avocados, nuts, olive oil, yes, they are good for you and they have numerous health benefits, but they are very calorie dense, so it's easy to overeat them. Also, let's talk about salads for a second. The base components of a salad are great for fat loss. Tomatoes, lettuce, spinach, rocket, etc. all are very low in calories and really filling. But when you start adding oil, dressing, cheese, croutons, by the time it's served to you on a plate, you are looking at upwards of 1,000 calories. And if you aren't making it yourself, you have absolutely no way of knowing what it contains. The reality of it is you could be eating the most organic, high-grade, farmer's market food, and if you're eating too many calories, you will not lose fat. And in reverse, you could be eating pizza every single day for every single meal. And if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose fat. Of course, I'm not saying you should eat pizza every single day in a deficit, but you get my point. You should absolutely base your diet around whole foods that are nutrient dense. They're going to raise your energy levels, improve your hormones, and make you feel good, but you cannot kid yourself. Calories are what matters when it comes to fat loss. So don't fall into the trap of trying to eat healthy and not tracking your calories, because you will not lose fat if you are eating more calories than you burn. Build your diet around foods that are 1, good for you, and 2, going to get you towards your goal. And if that means swapping out an avocado for some salted popcorn, don't feel guilty about it. Just keep in mind, if your main goal is fat loss, calories first, then protein intake, then healthy food, in that order of importance. Now, number 4 is probably one you need to hear, and it's stop obsessing over the scale. I made this mistake myself for years. My self-worth was based entirely around whether the scale went up, went down, or stayed the same. But here's the thing, the little number you see on the scale shows your entire body weight, from muscle to fat to water to glycogen to the food in your stomach. So there is literally thousands of different reasons your weight will fluctuate. Also, I want you to embed this in your skull forever. Weight loss and fat loss are not the same thing. You could literally lose 1 pound of fat and gain 1 pound of muscle and weigh the same. But if you only focus on the scale, you're not seeing the bigger picture. The scale is obviously a really good tool, but you have to look at other metrics. How does your jawline look? How big are your biceps? How are your clothes fitting? Has your waist shrunk? And of course, most importantly, how do you feel? Who the fuck actually cares about some arbitrary number on the scale? If you're making progress elsewhere, it literally doesn't matter. Obviously, if the scale hasn't moved for months and you're not seeing progress elsewhere, then there's a problem. But that's why we don't look at daily fluctuations. We look at weekly and monthly averages. Let's say you have a weight goal in mind. Sit there for a second and really ask yourself, why do you want to be that number? What do you think is going to happen? Are you going to feel more confident? Is your face going to look leaner? Are you finally going to fit a pair of jeans that you've always wanted to fit? Well, okay, then that's what should matter to you, not the fucking number. If you only focus on the number that you see on the scale, you risk getting discouraged when you hit roadblocks and quitting. And that's a problem, because then you're not going to see your entire existence change forever if you base it off of other metrics that are actually important. So don't focus on the scale, please. The 5th and final mistake is unfortunately one that I see far too often, and it's inconsistent tracking. I know people that will literally track everything they're eating during the week to the exact decimal point. But then the second the weekend hits, they say to themselves, I'm sure I stayed on track, but really and truly they are eating 1,000 calories over their maintenance. Look, a day here or there where you don't track properly or you don't track at all is fine. They're going to happen, it's inevitable, but too many of those days is going to lead to slow or even no fat loss. Just be honest with yourself. And don't worry, it's going to get to a stage where you no longer have to track. Eventually you're going to be able to look at a plate of food and know what you kind of eat every single day, and you'll be able to maintain your weight once the fat comes off. Listen to this. I have so many clients that come to me, and on our initial call they'll say to me something like, I'm eating 2,000 calories a day, so I don't really know why I'm actually not losing fat. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You think you're eating 2,000 calories, how about we track that and you keep a food diary for a week and we'll see how many calories you're actually eating. And most of the time it turns out they're eating anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 calories per day more than they thought they were. Trust me, if you think you're in a deficit but you aren't losing fat, then you aren't in a deficit. Track properly and be honest with yourself and you will lose fat. So there you have it. Those are 5 of the mistakes that I made and 5 mistakes that I see all of the time that are keeping you fat. So correct those and you will get to your goals. If you want some help correcting them and you want to work with me one-on-one so that you can finally lose weight and get in the best shape of your life, click the link in the description and book a call with me. Other than that, if this video helped, leave it a like, share it with a friend and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.